But you know what? I'm going to tell you, just going to a resort in Ontario, it's going to cost you $2-3 grand.
Oh,
like
easily.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not I'm being conservative. Like, it's not cheap. Like, just to go, drive and go to a hotel and spending 3 days there, maybe doing a spa thing and go, going around and doing some excursions and stuff. It is not cheap in Ontario to go anywhere. Like, and I'm sure that's got to hurt the industry with the interest rates they are happening. What's the middle class and lower class? Like, where are they at with this? Well, you got to watch this segment. Hey, everyone. Welcome to What's Happening in Real Estate This Week with Conrad Zerini, RE/MAX, Escarpment, RE/MAX, Niagara, big broker of Ontario, and also Brian Hogbin, Mission 35 Mortgages, and myself, Rob Golfi, with RE/MAX, the Golfi team. So, Bank of Canada. Oh, no, let's talk about a little bit about the market of in May. Now, I thought for my team, I felt that that people were kind of backing off a little bit in May and buying because they knew the mortgage interest rate. They were waiting for that announcement. Now, from January to April, like, people were buying real estate. They were confident that down the road they were going to do it, but they didn't want to wait that long to wait. But because we were so close to June 5th announcement, I think people kind of backed off a bit.
I think you're 100% right. Yeah. But the interesting thing is the sellers came out in a vengeance because inventories are up like 25 and 30%. So the sellers didn't get the memo. The buyers, you're right. Every trading area we're in, all the boards, Hamilton, Toronto, Hamilton, Burlington, Toronto, Niagara, Oakville, Milton, we're all down. All three boards were down in May, but we were up.
Yes,
both RE/MAX and we were up like about 9%, 10%. So we were super happy, and again, it just shows that consumers are going after a brand, and a brand like yours, Rob, too, as well, right? Yeah. So very much so. So you're right. It's that mindset was right there. You're right, absolutely.
So the headlines, every paper, every announcement, Bank of Canada rate cut, how it alters the housing market. Look at the headlines. Toronto Star, Bank of Canada cuts interest rates to 4.75. Here's how will that affect your mortgage? Times calling us, I don't know. Interest rates out cut not expected to spur surge in sales, but could bring uptick in real estate. CBC, cutting interest rates was easy, but the Bank of Canada still has a credibility problem. Bloomberg, borrows revel in interest rate cut as the party ends for savers. And the Globe and Mail, 8 Canadian retailers poised to benefit from falling interest rates. I guess that's because their stock exchange is going to get dividends. I don't know. I didn't read the article.
The lower so dividends, because it's an expense, right? Borrowing money is an expense. So when borrowing comes down, the dividend goes up, right? So that's just a natural thing. Yeah.
So now I was talking to Brian yesterday about this. So the average interest rate in the past 25 years was 5.25%. Am I correct, Brian? Yep. You mentioned that yesterday.
25 years, 5.25%. And you know what? The quarter point drop that we're seeing right now, like, it is great for the consumer sentiment right now. But I hate to say it, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot for most mortgage holders. It's nice. You're looking at $15-16 per 100,000 in savings, which I get it. That could add up to $100 on a $500,000 mortgage or more, but
it's not enough to change your life. There's no way.
The reality is that the first time that banks drop interest rates, if you go back into history, we see delinquencies, we see inflation drop astronomically after the first drop. So it's actually, they're always a little bit too late. I know it's hard to tell, but they're always a little bit too late. And we're still going to see a lot of those numbers, likely, if history repeats itself, still get worse in the next 30, 60, 90 days.
So didn't I read someplace that we were the first, is it G7 country that actually dropped our interest rate? Is that?
I think UK did. UK dropped it. Yeah, they dropped it. Bank of England dropped it already. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, US is going to be the one that's going to lag. Like, usually the US is the one that's the first off, but their economy is chugging along. You might see maybe 3 announcements before you see something happening in the US. You might You might see there's and even Tiff said it. We can shoulder this. We can weather the storm. And I'll tell you, currencies will drop. There's not a question. But because we're an export country too, it's going to make our exports that much more, the better price, right? But imports are going to be ugly.
We're just not cross-border shopping anymore. No chicken wings in Buffalo, Rob. Can't go down there anymore. They're going to.
I'm just 30 minutes from the border, man. That's it. Cross that border. You know what? I remember growing up. We used to go there all the time, like getting gas. Like that, with the jerry cans, like freaking groceries, and man, we were like,
as well as that par way back when. Remember it was that par.
Oh, no kidding. So I remember I worked at Pyramid Place in Niagara Falls, tourist attraction, and people would pay with American money, and the exchange rate was so cheap, and my parents would give me thousands of dollars to switch it. My parents had a freaking big bank account with American money in there, and then it's like, because the exchange, if you're at a games booth or whatever, people will be giving you American money, and you just give them, I don't know, 10%, less than 10% of.
Care less, right?
And then I was like, I told my parents to say, here's $1,000, bring $910 or whatever back for American money, because everybody went to the border, across the border, especially for shopping and everything else like that.
Well, I think most people will be staying. Most people I talk to now on vacations now, a lot of people doing the domestic, stay at home, local, Collingwood, Barrie. I'm going to just check out Ontario this year.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you, just going to a resort in Ontario, it's going to cost you $2-3 grand.
Oh, easily.
It's not, It's not I'm being conservative. Like, it's not cheap. Like, just to go, drive and go to a hotel and spending 3 days there, maybe doing a spa thing, and go, going around and doing some excursions and stuff. It is not cheap in Ontario to go anywhere. Like, and I'm sure that's got to hurt the industry with the interest rates they are happening. What's the middle class and lower class? Like, where are they at with this?
Well, I think if Rob Golfi's saying it's expensive, that is a testament of the time right now. Okay. And I think that goes to say, because I feel the same way too. I'm like, holy shit, I think that's a testament to see where we're going to see rates go over the next 60, 90 days too, because it is bloody expensive for everything.
And I don't, I don't even care about the rates anymore. I'm looking at consumer confidence, and that's the number to look at right now. So look, you got to think of what you just said it before. People were chugging along Q1, part of Q number 2, they were just chugging along, buying houses, doing their thing. Because that consumer confidence was pretty up there. That's the number I think everybody's going to look at now. It's consumer confidence. Like, look, borrowing money is a vehicle, right? And it leads me to the comment. I saw the email that we talked about. What's the strategy now? What are you telling people now, Brian? Like, what's the strategy? And I've heard people are saying go variable and ride the wave down, then pay the penalty, and then when it hits the level. So I did a calculation. I'm excited to present my calculation. I did a 1/4 point every quarter down. Okay.
Yeah.
Calculated the differential between 4.89. I did 4.89. And I calculated the first one at 6.75, the next one at 6.5, and so on and so forth. So I took times three payments, the differential. I got that if you waited, it'll take 2 years for the rate to get to, let's say, 5. Okay. It's $6,903. The difference between as the rate drops and having fixed at 4.89. Then you add in the penalty, and at the end, the payment's around $3,000. So that's another $8,700. It's a whopping $15,000 more to do what I hear mortgage specialists are saying, to take variable to the 2 years. It's 15 grand more than if you just got 4.89 today.
So
yes, I love that sentiment, Conrad. Love it.
I never heard Brian so not be able to say any words, eh?
Yeah, he was speechless.
I love it. I love it. Because we've been talking about fixed rates for ages on this.
Brian has no speech.
No rebuttal. but I tell you, you know what? It makes, not only do you have to deal with a great real estate agent, you got to deal with a great mortgage specialist because, I hate to say it, these guys are pulling this thing out of their ass saying, yeah, ride the variable. Yeah, you got to ride it for 2 fucking years, right? Down. You'll be saving every month. I tell you, that's what bothers me. People just don't do the numbers.
I think so my mortgage is renewing on this building, and I'm thinking of doing either a 1 or 2 year renewal. Is that wise
I don't
to
know.
do?
The 1 or 2 year rates are supposed to drop now, but the concern with the 1 or 2 years, if it drops more than enough, remember when interest rates go down, penalties go up. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
If you end up taking a 6er or something like that for a 2 year term, and then all of a sudden the variable does drop, or the fixed, you might be in a big penalty situation if you want to break it earlier.
I may just ride it out, do the 2 year term, and whatever the interest rates are at the time of the renewal, boom, and without, you know what I mean? Like instead of cashing out or whatever, like I got lucky on a lot of the properties. Like this building here, I was at 3% or was it 3.5 or 3%? Like it like at the time when I locked in for 5 years, I mean, it seemed like, okay, no problem. But now the commercial mortgages, they're way more than your regular residential mortgage.
I think the strategy still holds well today because on my mortgages that are maturing, I don't know for sure what's going to happen. I have my speculation, but I still think diversity is a great way to go. So I still have one that's riding out variable to see if Conrad's wrong, but the other, he was right about the rate drop. So
I got the numbers here, man.
But I do have some in 1 year term, 2 year, and I have some in 5, right? So depending, like if you're an investor, depending where you're at, and even for the solo homeowner, there are mortgage strategies where you could split up the mortgage.
Yeah.
Right? You could take half in 5 year, half in 1 year, half in 2 year, half in 4.
And RBC allows, and I don't know if all banks do, but RBC will let you do a 3 year. You could do it at 2.5, right? So you're able to lock in 2.5 years at that rate.
RBC still in business? RBC still in business?
I don't know, maybe, They got lots of loan loss ratio it's higher, but anyway. No, but like some banks do that. They'll let you do. Yeah. So really a 3 year is only a 2.5, right?
Right.
And a 2 year is 18 months.
Yeah, because you can early renew beforehand without a penalty. So a lot of the major banks will let you do that as well too, so long as you're renewing with the same institution. But it's good. It's a good idea. Yeah, for sure.
So, wow. Too bad we didn't have the American way. You put a 25-year mortgage at 3% and it stays like that forever. Would that be the same for commercial in the U.S.?
Commercial mortgages,
like they locked in for 25 years at the same rate?
Not that. No, they're like 10s, and they're not that. Yeah, you could get a longer rate, but not to the same degree. Yeah.
No kidding. No
kidding.
Yeah,
they're not the same.
So what else is happening, Conrad? What are you going to announce on the on your video?
Yeah, well, I think you know what, the fact that we outperformed the industry. Everyone else was there's a 20 point spread between us and all of our trading areas.
Perfect.
We've really outdone it. And you know what's interesting though is we're keeping pace with the inventory. Like we're not excelling with inventory, but I think our agents are looking at inventory in a different way. And I think there's some inventory that's just not real inventory. It's unsellable. It's just taking it too high or whatever. I think we have this, I call it uninventory. I think, and you may know better because you're more in it than I am, Rob, but there's got to be 20% that is uninventory out there.
Oh, big time.
Right?
Big time. 20, maybe 25%. Even more. It could be even more, but I think that's pretty accurate though. Because there's a lot of inventory there. People are unrealistic. They bought too high. I had a realtor from Toronto calls me up. He wants to list this house on Valleyway. He had it listed. He bought it for $1.1 million. And he closes in June of 2022. So he probably bought it in March of 2022. So he paid dearly. Soon as he called me and he's like, he said, oh yeah, I paid 1.1 million. I go, oh boy. I go, buddy, I think you're going to lose a shitload of money. I says, so anyway, and I think he bought off market. So I don't think he knew what he was doing. So he said he was going to list with me. They all say that until you tell them the price and then they end up listing it themselves. Right. So anyway, so I said, okay, I'll take a look at it. I'm in the Falls a lot. So
Yeah.
I take a look at it, boom, boom, walk around, man. And like you could tell he did a shabby job and doing little tight fix-ups here and there. And I said to him, I go, look, I goes, your mortgage more than 850,000. He goes, yeah. I says, well, you got two choices. You got to hang on to it for 10 years, or you just rip the Band-Aid off and just take the loss and go on with your life. I go, because the value's not there. And I says, one, you didn't even know the market. I says, even at 1.1 million in that area, in the boom of times, was even higher than it should have been. And I said, you paid too much. I said, I'm surprised you even got a mortgage on that. And you know, so anyway, I haven't heard from him yet, but I'm waiting to see it show up on the MLS. but Conrad, I got to tell you something. A realtor lists a house, and let's say there's a shortfall, and and they list the cooperating agent. Like, do you guys share? Do they, the listing agent, the cooperating agent, share the shortfall?
Well, the bylaw is yes, but if you knew, and if with a simple effort, because now we have access to that information, and we're telling people pull the parcel registry just to see where people are at, just to protect yourself. But that's probably going to be the next wave that we're going to see, and I think that's what a lot of this inventory is. A lot of this inventory is people that are just at the point where they're just, they're at renewal, they can't. The payments, and and I hate to say this, but Canadians wait till the bitter end, and that's why go back to what Brian was saying. We see this, this interest rate drops, and then you see this kind of situation where people are insolvencies and all that kind of stuff because they waited way too long. Because Bank of Canada's going to wait till the bitter end before they do anything. They're afraid of their own shadows. So it's more of that Canadians wait way too long, and they can repair it. If they called a realtor earlier or they called their mortgage broker much more earlier, they could probably repair it and come up with some equity. But if they wait too long, it's going to get feed to death, and lawyers' fees and everything. They're going to have no equity. So call your agent early. Okay.
Listen, call the Remax agent, Remax Escarpment, or us, the Golfi team, because we hold the bulk of the inventory. Anything that comes up, you're going to see it first, especially our network and with Remax Escarpment and Remax Niagara. Like the systems that you put together, Conrad, unbelievable. Well, hey guys, we're running out of time. I want to thank you guys for being on, and we'll catch you next week. And everybody, have a good weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks, great.
Yeah, picking the wrong realtor, that'd be a big mistake. That cost me money.
Hi, Rob here, and hey, we get it. We get that the right realtor makes all the difference. My advice, talk to 3 realtors, including one from the Golfi team. Compare and you'll see no one gets results like Golfi because of the millions we invest in marketing, getting you the most money in the least amount of time.
The Golfi team, Golfi gets it. So
pick the right realtor. Just Google Golfi.